Art students, Brian Proctor, the art teacher. Got pencils in my hand. I'm ready to go. Ready to go. Okay, so let's get going. All right, so what I want to do is I want to continue with my bird's eye view, worm's eye view perspective drawings so that you can draw your characters in a better, more dynamic position. Now, 2 videos back, I did one about that, drawing your characters in a better position than just straightforward. I just sharpened this pencil. It's not really a point. And so after that, I did another one because I kind of left that video wide open and I could have done more to it. So I did one which was the actual eye. It's called the bird's eye view, but it's actually a worm's eye view. I changed the title, but I couldn't change it on the video. So I thank you for that one subscriber that kind of was nice enough to tell me it was the wrong view. So this one is the bird's eye view. No, yes, this was going to be the bird's eye view. Worm's eye view is when you look up. You have the worm on the ground, you're looking up. Bird's eye view is you're the bird in the air, you're looking down. So this one is going to be the bird's eye view because we're going to be looking down on the character. And this was one thing I really envied those artists that could do that when I was younger, or should I say a younger artist. So first let's start off with the grid. So it all starts with the 2-point perspective. So you're going to have your eye line, and your eye line is basically wherever your head is, this is what you're going to see. This is your line of sight. So basically, if you had some glasses on, and those glasses had long little pole on the ends of it, however you turned your head or looked up and down, that's going to be your eye line. Just imagine your glasses having this on the side of them. So that's your eye line. So basically, it's whatever's above this, you're going to see the bottom. Whatever's below that, you're going to see the top of it. Yeah, so being the worm, you will see the top or the bottom of something looking up, and being the bird, you would see the top of it looking down. So as I was saying, wherever you turn, that's basically your view. Your view is kind of hard to explain, but it's simple to explain, but it's hard to kind of get. So you always have that, no matter what. You know, if you had a little brother and your little brother was that big, his eye line is going to be like that. Okay, so if you had your father, tall father, his eye line is going to be there. So everybody's going to see it on a different, from a different point of view, from a different angle. You know, if you got on your knees, you know, you'd be way down there. So it changes. Whatever you do, it changes. And I was going to say something, but I think I did this one and it kind of threw me off. Yeah, so when you draw something, you're drawing it from the point that you want the artist or the reader to see, or the viewer to see. So if I'm going to draw, and we're going to do a box again, we always do boxes, I guess, because that's the simplest thing. If I was going to do a box and I wanted the viewer to see the box, then the bottom of the box, then my eye line would be below it. Okay, so now that means everything else, everything that you draw that goes with that box, it would have to be the same thing. You would be looking up at it. You would not see the top. Like if I turned to the side and I looked at my printer, I couldn't see the top of my printer. That's because my eye line, my view is below that printer, which sits on a shelf. So I'm just gonna sit here and draw a printer. Are you kidding me? Yeah, so my printer's kind of like that. So I couldn't see the top of it because, like I said, my point of view, that's the word I was looking for, is below. If I stop spitting on my paper, my point of view is below the top of that thing. All right, so not to get too confused, let's go. So you just know if you put on some glasses and it's got these long poles on both sides, or long whatever on both sides, you know, anything above this, you see the bottom. Anything below that, you would see the top. All right, so let's use the back of some paper. Let's save some paper because this stuff is not cheap. Doing a basic 2-point perspective. And let's go back to 1-point perspective. For those who don't know perspective, because it was really, really hard for me to understand it. And it takes about a year, really, of just doing perspective before you really get it. If I'm here, this is me, this is my back, and I'm looking at something, and as far off as I can see, it will end up in a point. Okay, so I'm looking at something. I'm looking at this point in time and space. As far off as I can see, it would come to that point. So if something came from that point, or better yet, if I said, and perspective is hard, but it's easy at the same time. It's like doing a math problem. You see the numbers, but then when it's time to calculate it, you're like, okay, that's kind of hard. Anything above that, again, that line, you're going to see from the bottom. Anything below that, you're going to see the top. 1 point perspective usually is in the center page, is in the center. So if I'm looking at it, it's usually right here. It's the same as the railroad tracks. Let's use this one. It's going to go right back to that point, that 1 point. Now, if it was 2 points, it would have to have a second point over here or over here. But it's always going to be on that line. You'll never have the point up in the air, down below that. It's always going to stay on that line, and it's best to have them far apart from one another, or everything gets kind of crazy. Okay, while I still have it in my brain, let's go ahead and jump to doing the 2 point grid, because I wasn't planning on talking about 1 point perspective, but for some reason, did I use another piece of paper, or did I use the same? All right, so again, we have our eye line, horizon line. Some books will call it different. I call it an eye line. You have 1 point here because you're looking way back to this point. You have 1 point there. All right, so in the middle, it doesn't really have to be in the middle, but let's just, for the sake of argument, put a line in the middle. So basically, you're doing a plus symbol, right? Doing a plus symbol with 2 points at the end. So let's take this, go here, take this, go here. So you're doing a diamond. Is that, yes, a diamond shape. That, there, or kite, or whatever you want to call it. Golden Gate Bridge. So from here, and this is your standard point grid. You don't have to have these, but it doesn't hurt to have these because you're measuring. This could be an inch, it could be a foot, it could be a mile, it could be whatever, a universal way. Depending on what it is you are drawing, have your points there. Now from this point, I'm going to use a ruler, point to point. And actually I should have it here. I'm not going to do all of it, just one side. Kill time, save time. So we have that. So whenever I draw within that, and just to be fancy, I'm going to straighten this line out. Whatever I draw, whether it's going to be a building, whether it's going to be a refrigerator, whether it's going to be a person, I can say these are whatever, feet, I'll just say this is 10 feet, 20, 30, 40, 50 foot, 60, 70 foot. Let's just say it's a 70-foot building right here. Following that line. It's my 70-foot building, and I'll do the other side in a second. Or I can do a refrigerator, and this refrigerator this is feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a 5-foot refrigerator. Here's my refrigerator door. So like this is, each one is a foot. So 12-inch refrigerator door right here. It could be a house door, or it could be a person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 feet, 6 foot person. Your head, the body. Hey person, there you go. So you're using these lines to gauge whatever it is that you're drawing size-wise. Now, same thing for the other side. Okay, we'll just deal with this. I'm not going to try to sharpen it. And I'm going to do it red because I want them to kind of crisscross one another. Same thing, point to point. Now, once I get this, I'll show you where it usually gets me at, where it always got me too many lines, too many numbers, too many characters in a story. I can't follow it. So you have it the other way. So if I took this building here and I go back to this point from here to here, this point, so this is going to be the side of my building. As long as it goes to this point, there, you're good. So here's my building. Now I can put my windows, and your windows would have to go the same way. Come on, give me a pen, somebody. I'm just going to freehand this. Well, I'll use the top to do this. So like window here, window here, window here, following that line. And that bottom line has to be the same way. So you fill that all out with windows, and I envy people that can do that, do cityscapes and so forth, and have these windows just precise and these building edges. It's just, you know, I haven't really drawn one yet, a cityscape. I know I'm gonna have to do it one day. Not looking forward to that, but yeah, one of my scripts gonna call for it. And that's why I usually don't do other people's stuff, because they might call for something that I'm not really comfortable doing, and I don't want to mess up the thing. So same thing with the refrigerator. It's got to go back. I'm just kind of freehanding it right here. The person is round, so you're not going to worry about that. But because you're above that line, he's going to be rounded off. He's going to be rounded off. Everything is built. His shorts, all that stuff is going to be rounded off. His shoes, you're not going to go below that line, because this is where the person is going to sit at, or whatever it is going to sit at. So this would be actually represent your ground. Unless it's going underground and you have x-ray vision, you won't see it. All right, so now this is where it usually gets me, because most times in books, they continue to draw the lines through. At this point in time in the world, I don't see why you have to draw them through one another, but you might be drawing another something that you have to go through it, or you need those through lines. One more, just because I like apple pie, like that. So when you have a big page with lines, these many lines going through, it kind of messes the brain up. This is why I just like to do this grid, and then just kind of work with that grid without all these extra lines going on. You might need that extra line for something extra behind it. I don't know at this point in time in the world. But for now, we're going to go and we're going to do the true bird's eye view. So the bird is flying above us. He's bird, yeah. So he's going to be looking down at that person. So there are several ways we can do that. There's one real way, but there's other ways where you can turn it. And I don't, did I say that? You can have multiple vanishing points on a piece of paper. So you don't have to have one. You have, like, if I have tracks coming like this way or this way, you know, so don't think that you have just one. It could be, you know, multiple. Like if you do a city highway or something, you know, streets intersect and, you know, they keep on going. And so, yeah, you will have multiple, you can have multiple vanishing points. All right, so we're gonna use this grid again. We're gonna have the thing, and it's just like drawing boxes. That's why I say if you draw your boxes, you draw your squares, your circles. How can you mess up a circle? Your rectangles. Draw your shapes. That's the word I'm looking for. Draw your shapes. Then you can use those to draw anything else. And I'm drawing this in. I don't even know if I'm going to use it. Okay, so I usually don't have a bunch of paper underneath me. Just throw me off. If I'm going to draw a person it's going to be the same way as I did this, except we're looking down at it this time. So you're going to see, you don't see the bottoms of these because they're on the ground. If this was floating up, you would see the bottom of that. I know that's off, but yeah, you'd see the bottom of it. So same thing, if I drew a box here, let's say here, that, and then I go back with one of these grid lines. Here to here, let's just do a short one from here to here, right? And then I'll go over here, I'll do this. Just trying to keep it in perspective, just to make it look a little better. And here's my box, and again, here to here, and just, that's rough, that's just a rough. So we have this, and then you see the top of this. Now, if I take that, not the premise of it, I can't think of the word I want to use, and then I'll say, okay, this is a person, and I put a head on top of that person. It's really simple to draw that. So if, let's just say I do this for his legs, and I do an arm like that, and I do an arm like that, and then you have that person, you're looking down on that person. So if I slim them out a little bit, and a lot of times I know I told you to use the box or the cube, but there are times when I don't use the side, but you just have to know that there's a side to that person, but it rounds out, especially if I'm using my shapes, my upside down house, my tuna can, the cylinders. You see how it's not necessary to have that side, but it's kind of good to draw it in the beginning, and then like that. So, all right. So before we go any deeper, let me ink this. I don't think this one's gonna work. So I've got all these pens, and some of them are dried up, but I just can't really throw them away. I can't throw myself away. One thing about up and down figures, if here's the center line, this is the torso, this is his torso and center line. Okay, if I do upshot, depending on how up I go, and I'll pull out my dummy because it would really help. Your collarbone tells the whole story. If I'm looking up at this person, I'm not going to see too much of the collarbone. If I'm looking down at this person, the collarbone is going to become a V. So that is one thing that determines how high you are above that character. So let's just fix this guy up. If this thing all right. So now we have the shoulders, and I said you're going to see the collarbone is going to go into that V because you are above this guy, and his neck comes out here, and his head is there. So you're going to see a lot more of the shoulders than you would, let's say, the crotch. Whereas if somebody was up high, you would see his crotch more than you would see of his shoulders because you're looking up at the person. So, and in this case, where this goes around like this, so if I'm doing a pole and I'm looking up at that pole, it's going to look like that. So if I put stripes around that pole, it's going to look like that. If I take that pole and I put it down, it's going to look like that. And you're going to see the stripes around the pole like that. So it'll be the same thing. If I put stripes around him, let's say I put a belt, it's going to go down like that. If I put boots or whatever, or short pants, it's going to go down like that. Short sleeve shirt was the collar of the shirt. So by doing that, you also tell, even though you might not be that good at doing the perspective, but if you get the clothes right, the cuts of the clothes right, then it helps a lot better. So now what I was going to say is, Now, suppose I wanted to be a little deeper. Suppose I wanted to get a little higher above this guy. Then you continue your lines down. Now, if you are going to, if you know you're going to draw a character and you're going to be looking down at him, you don't want to put this line in the middle of your page, your eye line. You want to put your eye line up high. That way you'll get more of your guidelines. And of course, this is really off, so bear with me on that one. So the deeper, the lower you go, the higher you are. So if I did my line like this, following that line, already you see, if I put his head there, you see how much shoulder you're seeing versus that. But you don't want to go, well, you can go a little further, you know, but each one is going to be, how can I say, it's kind of a rotating thing. You know, you get to the point where you'll see the guy. This is the very top of him. His foot here, foot there, arm there. It all depends on how much you bring these down, how high this is. So I was going to draw this guy, but I'm not going to. Yes, I am. Torso to the can, center line. You see how you get to the side already. He rounds himself out, so you don't have to worry about that. And then you have your knee, your leg, the other leg. And this is something I did not mention. I think I'm just doing it naturally. When something's uniform, and I said this in the same in the old video. Let me get my dummy. I don't call him my dummy. Let me get the guy. Makes it easier. Sorry for grunting. The bad angle. Put his head back on. I was going to say something before I was going to say it. I got up to get him and I lost it. All right, anyway. Collarbone. You're looking straight up at the collarbone. You're looking straight on at the guy. He's facing me. My eye line is right here. We are eye to eye with this guy here. Okay, so I'm seeing his collarbone like that. Now, if I look up at the guy, the collarbone is going to start disappearing and everything is going to get rounded. If I put a rubber band or something around the guy, which is a good idea. I mean, you guys should see this already, but just for those people who are starting, perspective, it is a good idea to show you in these ways because I don't think anybody else is showing you guys this kind of stuff. So, get it on his leg without tearing him up. It doesn't have to be that far up on his thigh, Brian. Just put it on him. Rubber and rubber does not slide. All right, so here we go. We've got that eye to eye. My eye level is down on his thigh. So that's going to be almost straight across. When I look up at it, it's going to start rounding off like that. When I go down, it's going to round off that way. So just remember the pole with the stripes. So when you dress your character, you will know. Something else I was going to do with this guy, but if I remember it, I'll show you. So here's the arm. Whoa, that's what I was going to say. However, what's wrong with your arm? If it's uniform and you got both arms down, then these are going to line up. Like say it's the joints in his arm or the bends in his arm are going to line up. I don't know if that's going to work on camera. It's got to be uniform because this one is out further than that. So if I tilt this guy without him falling, like that, okay, perspective, this still going to line up. You know, the knee, where's the knees at? The knees are going to line up the same way, no matter how I turn him. So unless he has like one leg up and bent, then you're going to have a whole different, whole different ball game on that. Hopefully you understood that. Hopefully. I'm trying to do the best I can to break it down to its most simplest points where you can understand it, where the beginner can understand that. I wish I had somebody that would have taught me that when I was learning how to draw. And for those who don't know, I taught myself how to draw, and this is why I teach in this fashion, because I had to break it down to its most simplest form. So if I did his arm here, so let's say here is his head. Here's his neck, here's his shoulder, here's his delt. Here is where the pen stops writing. Okay, let's try this one. Maybe this one writes. Yeah, I guess. So, okay, so this is where like the elbow is going to be at. If the elbow's on his line and his line is correct, his other elbow is going to be there. So you have to kind of like work that out to where you know that his collarbone is here, his delt is going to be here, his delt is going to be there. It looks weird in the beginning, but it is right. And then if you bring his arm down here, and his wrist is there, bring his arm down, and this line is crooked, so bear with me. His wrist is going to be there as well. And even though this might be really short, it's right. Same thing. A knee is going to be right here. A knee is going to be there. A foot is going to be here. Foot's going to be there. So just as long as you have your lines right on that point. This is why I don't like perspective, because perspective is you must do it. And I look at art as freedom to do whatever I want to do, but when you're trying to do building and so forth, you must do it right. So what was I going to say? You have that. Okay, the deeper you go down below this, the more you're going to have your person turned up like that. Another thing I was going to point out. I remember and I won't forget it. Like that. Now, the more you turn somebody up, the less of a lot of the parts you won't see. So that's the center chest. It says. So with this, you may see something under that chest. You may see a little bit of the leg, depending on the arm. And then here's the foot right here. Here is his head. So here is the arm. Let's put the arm out just because we can put it out like that. Delt, arm, and you're going to have that collarbone like that. I know that's really small. Hopefully you can see that. But what I'm saying is, once you start to turn your character, your figure, let's say he's straight on at you, he's talking to you, hey Frank, hey, how was work today? It was good. And then you start to rise above him, hey, you're floating, where are you going, where are you going? So you start to lose, let's just say like all this side. As it goes up, you lose some of that side. Okay, as it goes up some more, you lose this and the side. Stuff starts disappearing. You have mainly, the chest and the shoulders. So the higher I go with this guy, put your arm down, dude. Why is it dark in here? Do I need to use my other light? You won't see a lot of, and this is where it gets weird when you draw this and you don't really know how to actually do it properly, how much you're going to lose. Pull them back a little bit more. Then it's weird just drawing this part and part of the leg and part of the foot, but that's just something that you have to you're going to have to kind of practice it. You just draw something every day. I'm trying to get into that habit. Even if I just draw one hand, at least I can go to bed saying, I drew something, I accomplished something, I drew every day. So the higher you have your camera above the person, the less of the body you're going to see. So if I started slowly tilting him down, you'll start to see more and more of the body. So in perspective, let's just say this is perspective, it's going this way. The grid lines are going this way. Follow your collarbone. Collarbone is not going to move. If he twists, that collarbone is still going to be there in that same direction. So as I say, perspective angle, dropping him down, dropping him down, dropping him down, you start to see more and more and more of the body. So it depends on how deep you do this. And as I said before, another piece of paper, if I know that I'm going to draw a team of characters, from a bird's eye view looking down, I'm not going to put my eye line here. I'm going to put my eye line up here. And let's just say, I'm trying to think, do you actually need, you can have one point here, you can have another point way off the grid somewhere. So let's just do this, just for the sake of doing this. And these lines are wide. And remember, you have to have it going back, you know, you have to have the side, you have to have the side of that box somewhere. But once you round it off, you're going to lose it, but it's good to be able to do it. All right, so if I have here, and I'm going to just throw somebody in between, in between these lines. So let's just say this is my guy right here, one guy. They're gonna be different sizes because my lines are just kind of like so whack. Okay, so this is my eye line. Okay, so you're gonna see a little bit of the top. So I'm gonna go down here. You're gonna see a little bit more of that. If I go down here, it gets weird because my lines are not measured. Remember I said do this points like this, so you can always measure your inches by inches or feet or miles or whatever it is you're drawing like that. And your line's always going to go straight down. That's where it gets kind of weird like that. And we'll go down here even more, which is just so screwed up. Where's my lines at? Okay, here's my lines. So it's gonna go even more. So you're seeing less and less and less of the body until you get to where you just don't see anything but maybe just shoulders and maybe the foot. If the head is like this, head is gonna be in the center. And maybe his feet and, you know, top of his shoulders. And that's weird. It's a weird little drawing. Okay, throw him away. Yep, he's gone. There's the chest, and this is the delts, and for the arm, and then the foot. Because you won't see anything under here, because he is. You are flying right above this guy. Is it time to throw this one away too? Let's just do a quick. Remember, Brian, he's going straight down. This pen is bad. This drawing is rough, but hopefully you can kind of see it. How about this? Get a better pen. Following the lines, or just use your pencil and stop playing around. Here's my head. Put the head on right, Brian. The neck is here. The head is going to go here. You got to keep it straight. This is going to be my torso. Underneath that is going to be the tuna can center line so that you can find where your roof is going to go on your upside down house. Leg. Remember the knee is going to, if my knee is going to be here, the other knee has got to be right there, which is just this little short little piece. And then your other part of your leg going to go right there like that. Same thing with your hands, and the elbows got to go here. This line is off, so just, you know, kind of bear with me. His hand is going to go right here on the side, wherever I put the circle. The elbow's going to go up, and you're going to not see that much, too much of that arm. Same thing here. Oval, tuna can. You're seeing more of the body. Come down, center line, so you can find the top of that house, or the roof of that house, the point of the roof of that house. Leg, knee, leg. Knee is going to be right here. That line is off, so you know that throws the whole thing off. Knee, other leg. My foot is here. Put that foot out. This foot here. Same line. Hands. Where is the thing right there? Right there. Elbow. And it has to go down at the same angle. One can't go way out like this and down, and the other one goes down. So it has to be uniform. The whole thing has to be uniform before you get it to sit right. Head, torso, tuna can. And that just basically just represents your waist, or think about having a big thick belt on. And then your upside down house is your crotch because it comes in a point. Well, it doesn't come in a point, but it's just, I just use the point and round it off later. Center line, find out where that is. One leg, going back, follow your line, Brian. Other leg here. Knee, everything has to go on that line. Or a line, not that line, a line. Foot, and your foot. Then make that head a little bigger to fit that body. And of course, let's just put this arm down. Right here, right here, right there, right there, and your fist. And you see, even though it's a terrible drawings, how you lose part of your body the deeper you go below your eye line. I was gonna say, okay, so yeah, you have your collarbone. It's just getting deeper and deeper until you just see your collarbone and your chest right there. So, what else was I gonna say about going from your bird's eye view? So if I did a just regular box, and of course, it's not following the lines completely. You'll see less and less of that box until you just see the top of that box. And it's gonna be the same thing if I flipped it over and just imagine it's going up, you would see, yeah, yeah, it's reverse when you go up. Whole different type of drawing, So give me a second and let me see if I have completely showed you guys what I'm trying to do. And as I was saying about vanishing point, like this is the vanishing point. Let's have like another vanishing point here. So that's gonna be kind of weird. I don't have enough, what's the name? So my character, if I wanted him to be turned this way, let's say one is facing this way, stop spitting on your paper, and then one is going to be turned that way. Remember, just drawing that box will get you miles away from where you want to go, from where you're starting off. So I will do my torso again, tuna can, and as long as he's on like kind of the same line, he should be the same size. That just ran away from me just for a second, but it should come back. Meaning you won't have a little teeny figure and a big figure. Shouldn't. Center line. Here's your points. Everything's coming from that point. So it's going to come from this point and that point right here. Your box first. Draw your box first if you're not sure. So there's my other leg here, my knee. This is basically draw one leg first. Just draw one whole side first, and then use that as your measuring guide, unless the arm is out like that. Then the whole different story. You just have to be able to, what's the word I'm using for, to be able to, your right distance between your arm. I can't think of that word. So my knee is here, the ankle is here, my foot is here. So you can have one guy looking this way, one guy looking that way. You can do another line here, and then have another guy looking the opposite way. Do your boxes. Then from your boxes, you can do your person. So you can have a bunch of people turn multiple different ways by just putting points here, and then you go And remember, the further down these lines are, the higher up you're looking down. So if you want this guy like turned this way and you want him to be kind of like a companion to him, then you want to put it kind of high up like this, widen that line, and then he should be the same size. You just know where you want to stop your foot at, even though it's going back. But putting your person too close to the vanishing point is another way to distort your character. Let me draw this box. Because, let's say I'm going to put his foot here. You're losing a lot of space, but I mean, that's what you want. His foot would be here, foot would be here. Center line. Now you got to go gauging, and it's going back this way, which I'm throwing everything off because I'm not really following that line. Foot here, arm, and you really wouldn't see that arm unless you just put it in a different way. However you put that foot out like that. So these guys are basically the same size. So you'd have to kind of put him up high enough to where he's matching the other guy. And I mean, these guys, I mean, they're all like on the same plane. They're all on the same plane. They could be just like lined up at the grocery store, you know, waiting for that toilet paper sale. And this guy's like sliding over, trying to cut in the line. You know, this guy's like, oh, stop, hold up. One roll of toilet paper per customer, you know, because he's the toilet paper police. Yes, I said toilet paper police. So before I get too crazy into doing comics, hopefully you understood what I was trying to show you today. The hard part is going to be trying to do a thumbnail. That is always the hard part for me, is trying to figure out a thumbnail that's exciting and eye-catchy and blah, blah, blah. So that's going to be it for this. Let me pull back so you can get a nice little view of what we did today. All right, so remember your grid lines. You're drawing the plus symbol, and then you're doing a big diamond or just a triangle here, triangle there. Measure out. It could be inches, it could be feet, it could be miles, it could be whatever size, depending on what you're drawing. And multiple vanishing points. You can have multiple, just the best thing to do is just do this. Draw, get my better pen. Start drawing boxes, start drawing your multiple vanishing points, and then draw cubes. And it's got to go back because this is your it's your outline. So you're gonna have all your lines, all of your vanishing points are going to stay on that line. So wherever this line, this could meet up with this one here. If you do another cube, let's just say, where was this guy? Okay, so this one here meets up with this point here. So this one's got to go there. This one's got to go there. And the closer you have them, the more kind of distorted they're going to be. Your cube's going to be. But I would do that even on here. Just vanishing point. I want to do a cube above. Let's say put this vanishing point right here. Above. So above. I lost that for a second. I had to actually pause that thing. So one here. One here, one here, one here, and then this one goes back, and this one goes over there. And just put cubes all over the place, and then you can say, okay, I'm gonna put a head on this guy. You take the cube, and I put a leg on this guy. I put a leg on this right here, and I put an arm on here. Well, that arm goes up, but that's a good way to practice with your shapes on your grid with your vanishing points, and remember your size. And I'm going over what I did again. So I'm going to cut it right here. Hopefully you can understand it. Like I say, perspective is very easy, but it's very hard because it's like trying to wrap your brain around calculus or some other math that you just don't want to do, but you have to do it in order to graduate. So that's going to be it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Here's my muscular man here with the rubber band. So yeah, that's going to be it. I'll see you guys. I'll start rambling and just losing everything in the next video. Keep drawing. Draw every day if you can, even if it's just a hand or a finger or an eye or something. At least you know that you're drawing, and you will get better eventually. All right, I'm out. Later. Thumbs up. Subscribe. Tell a friend. That's what I say. Hit the notification. Bye.